Alrighty, welcome to Hoopatheticals, the post-paternal edition. The welcome return. Yes, we've been off for a little bit. There's been some major developments in our lives. Mine is that my hair's become slightly shorter, so huge news there. I think our listeners will understand I needed to take some time off to kind of deal with that. Pretty important thing there. Also just had a nice little whimsical trip abroad, so... nothing. It's pretty important stuff's happening in my life. Tommy, any big news since our last pod?
Let me think. I've been growing a beard for since we last recorded. It's taken that long to get this sort of coverage. What else? Rolled my ankle the other day. Oh, and I now have a daughter. So there you go.
That's an absolutely fire take.
So a mere, what did we say, 6 days after our last episode, because your boy had to get in a cheeky episode before she was born. 6 days after that, she was born. So that's where we're at, man. She's 3 months tomorrow. She's 3 months tomorrow, which is crazy. She's happy and she's healthy. It's all good times. She's already a fanatical Bucks supporter, which I know we will touch in excruciating detail, but she has been watching the highs and the many lows. Can't tear her away from the screen. Cannot tear her away. Tantrums have been thrown, and not just because of the results. Maybe we'll do a little interview later on in the piece and get some sizzling takes, maybe a worse fake, maybe even Agent Cody Bank. We'll see.
Now, Tommy, before we leave this topic, I feel like we should bring it into the Hoopatheticals universe can you describe in basketball terms what it's like having a daughter, a new fresh daughter?
Do you know what it's like? It's like when your team is in the whirlpool, when everyone is scrambling. They keep passing the ball around the three-pointer line, and everyone is just scrambling, switching. You don't know what's going on. You're just closing out hard. You're doing the Pat Connaughton flyby, but just missing everything. That's what it's like. But then every now and then, you get a steal, and then you get the ball, and then you just cash a pull-up three. So that's what. It's the best, man. She smiled the other day, and I was like, "Guess my life's complete. Guess that's it." Did one gummy smile, and I guess I can die now. So no, it's like when Giannis drops 59. So
are we going to start there?
Screw the Pistons, and beef stew can get stuffed, but it's like when Giannis drops 59, and you're like, this is huge.
Yeah. You know what? Let's actually not start with the Bucks because we're going to get too into it, and I feel like we've got to start elsewhere. So I think I'm going to start with the shots fired. Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. And we encourage people that are listening to this, you should definitely watch this. I would say this podcast has officially become a visual medium. If you are not watching it, jump over to our new YouTube channel, which we have launched now. So you can go check that out on Hoopatheticals on YouTube. You can watch this episode. And all of those segments, they are all going to have a visual element. How connected those visual elements are determined by my willingness to spend on stock footage and videos. So they are all very disparate.
I'm going to give the heads up to our listeners. He has a high willingness. We are making absolute Agent Cody bank around here. And, he's on them high bucks. Top tax bracket is what I hear. So it's going to be clean.
Yes. Well, yes. Speaking of things that are not clean, in this segment, Shots Fired, this is our opportunity to sort of shoot shots at different teams. All different players. And this time we are sort of doing a first team all something. Typically we do a first team, you've heard of first team all defense. This time we're doing a first team all don't trust the early success. Okay?
Yep.
So this is teams that have overperformed to start the season. Now, Tommy, did you have a starting guard for us at all?
Oh, I've got a couple of... No, you go first. I want you to go first, yeah.
All right, let me start. Our starting shooting guard is going to be Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Chicago is 6th in the East at the moment.
Yep.
Why I don't think this is going to translate into later season success is because it's Chicago. This happens every single season. They start off... Hell, you know what? They've even got their run to go on. They've got a sort of 10-4 run to go on. Maybe even call it a 12-4 run. And then somehow, when it looks like they're about to be the 8th seed, with a month left in the season, they're just going to implode and end up with the 11th draft pick again, like they do every single year.
So tough. Yeah, I'm going to have to go at shooting guard, sorry. I'm going to have to go for a team that, even though they're at .385, so they're at 5-8, as in 5 wins and 8 losses, this team is got no business being 10th in the East, and that's the Pistons. I know I brought them up before, mate, but I'm going straight back to them. There is no way on God's green earth that this team is going to maintain such a win differential of 385. If they're not wooden spoon, and I know, look, I'm fully aware that the Bucks are sitting at 12th at 4-8. So the irony is not lost on me. But if I don't see the Pistons sinking their way well and truly out of the play-in and into, somewhere around that 13, 14, 15 mark, then I will eat my shoe. So that's who I've got at shooting guard. For first team, I don't trust their huge success. Good for them. 5-8. Good for them.
Detroit, you're piston Tom off. Alrighty. All right, at starting forward, this is connected to a TikTok I released, but I'm going to have to go with Denver. And the reason for this is the Russell Westbrook factor. And what I see happening is, because it's happened the last couple of years, is Jamal Murray at some point is going to go down. And all of a sudden, it's going to be a lot of Russell Westbrook with the ball with 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Okay? That's going to be what happens.
Shaqtin' a Fool's going to have enough content for the next 3 or 4 business years.
And look, honestly, sorry, I was just going to say, he's given the triple-double name a bit of triple-double trouble. See you later, Denver Nuggets.
Okay. All right, so I've got at power forward. I've got a team that's actually been pretty sizzling recently. They are second in the West, but there again is no way they're going to maintain this. And I don't have unrequited hatred for this team like I do some other notable aspects that I'm on the record, notable teams I'm on the record hating. But the Golden State Warriors are currently at 9-2. I just, Steph's only playing 25 minutes a night. You know what I mean? And they've got a bunch of electricians and plumbers out there. I don't even know. Trace Jackson Jr. something. I don't even know who that dude is. And they got, they're running offensive sets for that man. Draymond Green, for some reason, is still in the NBA. I don't know what kind of information he has on Steve Kerr, but he's still playing. Again, I see the Warriors as firmly maybe like a play-in just outside of the play-in. Maybe they're 7th. Maybe. So yeah, I can't see them maintaining that quality basketball.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, we already know what's going to happen. Halfway through the season, Draymond's going to use up all his techs, and all of a sudden, the moment they need to play a significant game, he's going to be out. What they should do with him is just stick him. I don't know if you've seen this Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight that's about to happen, but I feel like Draymond Green, WWE style, when the first person gets knocked out, should run in and RKO whoever's still standing, because he's that kind of violent guy.
Not the chair! Just
all right. I'm going to have to go here starting center. Tommy, you can give us our 6th man as well here.
Okay.
All right, starting center. I've chosen the Knicks.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. It's the cat factor.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen, he's currently the worst low post defender in the league amongst people that actually defend post-ups. Now, I don't know how Tom Thibodeau is not going to have an aneurysm in some playoff series when they are playing the Sixers and Embiid is literally stuffing Cat into the basket every play. It is going to be hard to watch.
They're going to have Miles Turner is just going to drop 40 on him. And, I mean, it's crazy that he has the worst rating, net rating, whatever it is. Brook Lopez is probably in that conversation. And that man is 45 years old. And it's unbelievable, really. Cat. Yeah, no, it's the same. He always starts off the season good, and everyone goes, "Oh, hang on, it's okay for him to shoot threes," and he actually has a pretty good mid-range kind of pull-up J shot, and then clockwork every season it goes to crap. So yeah, that's fair, mate.
The cat's out of the bag.
The cat is out of the bag. So I've got sixth man.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be set. I had to pick currently first in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I had to say honorable mention, sixth man. They're currently 13-0. Again, by some sort of miraculous turn of events, they're yet to lose. I think they have been playing good basketball, I'll give them that, and they've been playing like a team, but they are well and truly overdue for a humbling. And I'm really hoping that humbling comes from the Hornets or the Wizards or the Raptors, some just garbage team that, can just punish them. So good for them starting the season strong. It's certainly not going to stay that way. There is no way they're ending at first in the East. As much as I hate the Celtics and never want to see them succeed or win a basketball game again in my entire living life, I do think that they're a better team. And, even the Magic without Paolo Banchero surely can give them a run for their money.
All right, tell me, I need a true or false here. Tell me, this is what I'm feeling about the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? I see them having a really good regular season. I actually could see them being the number one seed. But you know what they are? They're going to win their first round matchup, and they're going to get swept in the second round. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just going to happen.
I think I called this last year that they were a second round exit. I feel like this start to the season I'm almost wanting to give them a conference finals appearance, but I still feel... And I think they might get there, but yeah, the second round, especially if it's against the Celtics, I can't see them making out of that alive, or at least without an injury, a significant injury. I feel like someone's rolling an ankle. Garland is great, but I feel like he just gets injured. He has hand injuries, weird kind of things that you're you land on your knees. Why is your hand always injured?
You should be a physio for a team. Mate, how is your hand still injured, mate? Fall on your legs.
The Cavs actually remind me of the Bucks maybe 5 years ago. The 2 seasons before we won the chip, when we were first in the East, back to back. We had the best defensive rating. We were cooking, and Bud
those were the days.
He crapped the bed, take me back. Simpler times. But, Bud would just crap the bed and just, his system just could not handle a postseason interaction. And the Heat would just bully us into submission. So that's what I can foresee for the Cavs.
All right. Well, that's been shots fired, mate. Now, before we actually get to the Bucks, I actually think we should go to worst fake, because I don't think you've seen this intro yet. We didn't get to it last episode, so I think it's only fitting that we give it a run, and then we'll get into Bucks chat.
All right.
Here we go.
Oh!
Alrighty, this is
Dude,
worst
that was
fake.
Legit. That was proper.
Not worst fake when it comes to the budget for that one. That's right, tanked all our animation budget into the title sequence for worst fake, for what is a largely audio podcast. So, worst fake is the segment where you and I pretend to be like the people on First Take, where we have extremely strong views. Except the only twist is, you and I don't know what those views are going to be.
Yep.
So we're about to reveal them to each other, and then we have to act like a First Take talking head and defend that talking point. Tommy, I think I'll go first, because I know that you've got, it seems like a Bucks-related one, and that'll lead us into Bucks chat, I feel like, nicely.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. So I'm ready to go.
Okay, mine is slightly Bucks related, but I want to get your thoughts on this one. So, worst fake, Tommy. Your topic is Phoenix is second in the West. Tell me why the Bucks firing Coach Bud was the smartest thing the organization has ever done.
This is why it was the smartest thing we've ever done. Because, like I said before, Bud is fantastic in the regular season. but he is just not great at adjustments in the postseason. And there's nothing better. This was actually a long plan of ours, because what we're going to do is we send them to the Suns. What are the Suns built for? People are like, they're built for the postseason. They got KD, they got Book, they got Beal. They've had that sort of regular season success in the past. They need to go to that next level. They've had a couple of, obviously, their finals appearance. They've had a couple of second round exits. Rah, 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 rah. We have sent Bud over there on a sabotage mission. And what he's going to do, they've had a great start to the season. KD's looking good. Booker's been cooking. Grayson Allen, also part of the sabotage mission we've sent over from the Bucks. He's going to be lights out all season. It's going to come to the postseason. KD's foot size is going to get another size bigger, so he's just not going to hit that 3. Booker's going to roll an ankle. Bradley Beal is just going to be 40 years old and not be able to play. And Grayson Allen is going to punch someone in the mouth and not be able to play anymore. This is exactly how we drew it up. It is the best thing to happen to the Bucks. It's the best thing to happen to the Suns. You know, there's no love lost between us and the Suns, mate. I mean, I know we beat them in the finals, but I'm still kind of a little bit G'd up about it. So, yeah, I can see it, mate. It writes itself, that one.
Mm-hmm. I love that Grayson Allen got a little blow-by there from his just physical assault of other people on the basketball court.
He's catching strays, mate. That man will also always be catching strays.
Not unlike his opponents.
All right, so...
All right, give it to me, mate.
Are you ready for your worst fake? Okay, So here's the precedent here, just as a bit of backstory.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of seasons ago, the Lakers went to the Western Conference Finals with a grandpa LeBron James and a banged-up AD. Okay, they had a poor start to the season, but they had some kind of magical sort of postseason run. They turned on the Jets, and it was awesome. They started the season with a very similar record that the Bucks have started with this season. I want you to tell me how this is exactly how we drew it up, and the Bucks are going to come back. We're going to have a strong end to the season, especially after the All-Star game, and we're going into the postseason. We're going to the conference finals, mate. At the very least, we're going to meet the Celtics there. Give me it.
It's you know, you see every other team zigging. That's the time to zag. Okay.
Yes.
Other teams are going, how can we acquire draft picks? How can we get young talent that can play defense? How can we have young players that are athletic and, really good guards? How can we have centers that can sort of switch out on any player and aren't really a massive liability on defense half the time? And we've gone, you know what? Let's zag the other way.
Yeah, boy.
So you know what we've done? We've got Brook Lopez, who the man may be 7'1" and looks like he could probably hold up Shaq, but where are we going to stick him? Deep 3. You weren't expecting that, you know?
Oh.
Could he post up all these switching centers? Sure. Is he going to do? Not at all.
No.
You know, we are literally playing the opposites game. Everyone's getting faster. We're getting slower. Let's see how you like playing a full 24-second shot clock with everybody walking around. Yeah? So all our move is, it's the same as LeBron. LeBron was old. He's bringing his veteran wiles and his old body into the finals, and we're going to be doing the exact same thing. You think teams think you got youngins? Guess what? We got so many oldies, we could open a retirement home, okay? You weren't playing that level of chess. Even our coach sounds old.
Yeah. He's so old he can't even stand up on the sidelines anymore, man. They're going to have to wheel him out or something at some stage.
I feel like a YouTube chiropractor should do a review of why standing like that is terrible for you, because I feel like someone needs to tell him he is going to lose a quad one of these days on the bench, and he's going to have to be wheeled off.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. We are ahead of the curve. We have come full circle. People are going to want to get older after they see our conference finals performance.
Oh, mate. All right. Well, it's time. We've been talking about the Bucks. This is also a new title sequence, Tommy. So it's time for Bucks Chat.
Wow. That's clean.
So that's kind of giving, you're sort of in almost a lounge there. That was also the only visual that had a buck in it. So we had to just kind of use that and sort of work backwards from there.
Yeah. Well, still on brand, just. You count it. AI, please reach out if you've got more. We need it.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Bucks. So today, let's start with today's game, mate. This is the game for the future us listening, and for those that didn't watch today, Giannis just dropped 59 in what was an exciting overtime game. Overtime spurned on by a Detroit player absolutely bricking 2 free throws that could have ended the game. And he bricks the first one short. So what's he do with the second one? You think, maybe he's going to go too long? Nope, just exact same shot again. Never seen it happen.
So tough. And he looked like... They never looked like they were going in. As soon as it left his hand, I was like, that's a clank. That's an eel. That is who is this guy? And why is he playing in the NBA? But I'm not mad about it. So...
So, Tommy, all right, let's just sort of assess the situation of where we actually are in the NBA. So, at this current moment, the Bucks are 4 wins and 8 losses. People were saying they had titles hopes. So, obviously, a horrible start. I guess let's start with today's game. Anything that you wanted to pick up before we get into sort of what's been more broadly going on with the Bucks?
I mean, we were 2-6, and now we're 4-8. So, I mean, this if I'm not on the eternal hopium and copium, then I don't know who I am. But look, there's a lot to cover, mate. It's been a tough NBA start. A tough season. It really has. We've had a couple of close losses. The Cavs games are actually really good. I actually enjoyed that. We played half decent against the C's. But I tell you what, losing to the Bulls and the Nets stung. That really stung. We've had a few other losses. I can't remember. What was it against the Grizzlies and stuff? Who were playing?
It's better if you black out those memories, I think.
Yeah, but look, you go first. Tell me what's been going wrong, mate. What's been happening?
All right, so I've sort of written down a couple of lists of things that I've just wanted to kind of highlight. First one is Bobby Portis.
Jeez.
It's been a tough season. So tough that it's actually inspired me to write a poem. A very short poem about Bobby Portis. It changes tone very quickly.
Okay.
But hopefully you'll enjoy it. So Bobby Portis has not had the great season on offense, and he's been literally a traffic cone on defense. There's all these stats coming up saying that he's like a net negative 20 when he's on the court defensively. It's really bad. So here's my poem. Okay, Bobby, why you move so slow on defense? Bobby Tortoise. Now watch me switch the angle here. Bobby, please be on the show. Bobby, support us. Bobby, be back to giving us 12 and 12. Bobby, don't short us. And Bobby, if you hate this, please don't take us to Bobby Cortis.
Bobby Tortis is too real. You got to laugh or you cry. I mean, that man is a black hole on defense. I mean,
offense.
Mate, the amount of times I've seen someone blow by him and he just stands there and looks confused. I'm like, mate, you think you're confused. What about me? I'm just like... And I don't know why. He's long. He's tall. I mean, he could at the very least just try and get in the way. But, oh, wow. He's just stunk it up. I think the only person who's been worse on defense than Bobby Portis, quite frankly, is Pat Connaughton. I honestly, mate, I don't know who Pat can actually guard. Seriously, like, who do you put him on? Because if you put him on a guard, he always flies by on the threes. Like, that pump fake, he's gone. And if you put him on anyone bigger than 6'2", like anyone who's bigger than Curry, essentially, they just weight room him and they beg him, they come for the switch. They call him up. So, I don't know why Pat... I actually have a conspiracy theory. Sorry, I don't want to get too deep into this.
No, let's get into conspiracy... Wait, hold on, Tommy. Let's go to our conspiracy segment. This is a segment within a segment. Welcome to Redacted.
Yeah. Okay.
Redacted. This is our segment where we look at NBA conspiracies. Tommy, go ahead.
Sorry, this is just real impromptu. We've got to get back to the, serious Buck talk. But seriously, I think that the only reason they're giving Pat Connaughton north of 20 minutes a night is because they are trying to convince the league that he's worth something so that we can trade him for something. Seriously, he wouldn't get minutes, mate, on like the Wizards. He wouldn't. No one. He can barely hit a three. Every time he goes for a layup, he always just like falls over and the ball goes nowhere near the rim. And I seriously think they're like, we're putting him out there just to show that he's a rotational player. And because if we just bench him, no one will even consider him. But if we play him, we can be like, yeah, no, he's good for a three and he's a body and rah, rah, rah. So that's my conspiracy theory, man. John Horst, I think, has actually got, like, he's told Doc, you have to play him no matter his shocking, like, point plus minus and differential.
Want him Pat Connaughton.
Seriously. Mate, get rid of him. Sorry, return. Go back to regular Bucks talk.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was regular Bucks talk. I think, honestly, just my hot take on Pat Connaughton is I think the reason he's getting minutes is sometimes our offense is literally so dead that he's just at least a guy who runs around and passes the rock. Because sometimes we don't have players that do that.
I felt like we actually played, sorry, real quick. I actually felt like our defense wasn't as bad today. Like, at least when we play young guys, they are more switchable and can actually, like, slide their feet. But, yeah, I don't know. Our offense is just a shocker when there's no Dame for assists at the very least. But as you were.
All right, another person I wanted to sort of highlight that I think has been putting in the work in making the team bad is... And I've got a bit of a metaphor for this guy. It's Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, my goodness.
And I would say that not unlike someone who's blocked their mate's toilet at a house party, it's time for him to put that floater in the bin. He's a bit like our Rudy Gobert in the sense that if the offense is ending with him with the rock, it's a miss.
I'm always surprised when it goes in and he shoots. I'm always pleasantly surprised. And I tell you what, I came into this season thinking that's not a bad pickup. I felt like he was a bit of a hooper on the Raptors, but that man just... He cannot buy a bucket. He cannot bribe a bucket. And for whatever reason, he's also getting beat on defense. So it's tough when he gets benched and everyone's like, oh, he's injured. He's not injured. He's not injured. He just sucks. He just sucks.
And also, I mean, every time he drives in for a little floater, it's always short. Dude, just go off the backboard or something. You got to try and go long. Why is it short every time?
I don't know. It's also always straight on. Like, he's always straight down the middle. I'm like, this is probably the easiest floater. It's the easiest look you're going to have all night. How are you missing those? This is simple pick and roll stuff. Yeah, he's a terrorist, mate. He's a terrorist.
Did you have any other sort of Bucks insights?
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about this a lot, man. I think at the start of the season, we thought that we could coast. I think we thought, look, we've got Giannis, we've got Dame, a couple of new, rotational players, and we'll be able to coast through the regular season. But I don't know, as the games have gone on, I've just realized, like, we're just not playing with any heart. Like, that was the thing, and I've been thinking about this, man, like, when we first started watching the Bucks, like, they were young, they were fun, they like put their back into it every night. And watching this team, I'm like, man, they are so depressing. Like, they just they don't care. And to be fair, this win against Pistons tonight is the one outlier where I felt like we actually had a bit of pride and a bit of integrity. And Giannis was really like locked in. But it's weird, dude. Like, Giannis is the leading point scorer in the league right now. At like 31.6, might even be 32 now. Dame looks way better than last year. Like, he just looks fitter. He looks more locked in. He's looking fantastic. Taurean Prince is shooting at a great 3-point percentage. AJ Green is like absolutely like unconscious from three. But I don't know. We just suck. And I don't know why they can't work it out. I don't know if you've looked into this as well, dude, but we have just like no options. Like, we can't bundle people for a trade. We've got like no picks for like the next 6 years. Like, this is, unless some team like bails us out with a really bad trade on their behalf, we're kind of stuck with this lineup. Yeah, so I think it's a heart thing. Sorry.
No, well, I wanted to say, actually for me, kind of the word, like, that heart thing kind of feels right. But you know what else it feels like is, if I was to summarize this season in one word, it's disorganized.
Yeah.
everything just looks all over the shop. Like, it
Yep.
looks like there's so many times where people clearly don't know what's going on.
Yep.
They run one pick and roll, and all of a sudden someone on their team is cutting backdoor for an open dunk, and it just happens all the time.
You know, like when we won the chip and Bobby Portis said, like, we were all heroes in our role or something like that. He said, like, we were all, like, MVPs in our role. And I feel like no one knows their role on this team. Everyone is afraid to shoot unless their name is Giannis or Dame or Bobby Portis for some... I don't know why he's got the green light, man. Why does that man have a green light? And it's like we don't... I sometimes think we don't actually have any play. I don't know if Doc... Does he just not have any plays to go to? Like, I felt like Bud had, like, this kind of quiver of, like, back pocket plays. Like, yep, if it's this, we're going to run this. And if it's, if we've got final shot, we're going to run that. Giannis downhill, whatever it is. But, yeah, we just don't, like... We keep running the same pick and roll for Damian, Giannis, with Brooke or whatever. And it's really just not working, and no one else is getting a shot up. And then on defense, like you said, it's the amount of back cut dunks, it's just crazy. So I don't know why we have a whole off season, because we were saying this all last season, like, you know what? Doc's going to have the whole off season, write some stuff up, have some dinners, everyone's going to know each other a bit better, and then come back. But it's like they did nothing in the off season, like no one did any work. And now we're just kind of like fumbling around, like we can't get a new coach, like we're stuck with Doc. And sorry, this is my other thing. I actually think that hating on Doc is low-hanging fruit. I'm not absolving him by any means. He actually, I think, sucks really significantly. He is awful, but I'm not like putting this at his feet. Like, we were playing this bad well and truly before he came, and he's done nothing to make it better. But it's not his fault that, like, the median age is 40 on this team. It's probably more like 33, but like...
Well, Tommy, I think you've actually unlocked. I'm going to go the other way with Doc, and I'm actually going to dig in a little bit here, and I'm actually going to go into another redacted NBA conspiracy.
Come on now. Yeah. No,
all right.
Fire up, mate. I was too easy on him.
Yeah. Okay, let me break this down. This doesn't even just extend to Doc. This goes to his whole coaching staff. Are you ready for this
goodness.
one? Get
I'm
the
so
tinfoil hat out, mate.
I'm so ready, boy.
All right, here's what it is. Okay. So I don't know if you've seen, assistant coach is Dave Jaeger. Okay. This guy is a guy who has basketball plays, but I agree with you. I've been watching the Bucks. It doesn't seem like we've got any plays. No. There's so much standing around, and I can understand why people are standing around, because Giannis drives in wildly and blind passes the ball. So someone has to be there, or else it's just going out of bounds. Yep. So I can understand why people are hesitant to cut. The system is just not well set up. But you've got Dave Jaeger, who has done a bit of coaching, and he does have plays. But why are the Bucks not running plays? What's going on? Well, I actually think this is going to be a broad conspiracy. Are you ready for this one? All right.
I'm ready.
So I don't think Doc Rivers has ever really been a good coach. I think he was lucky to get good people at a good time in his career. So I think in the Celtics, he was lucky to get KG, who had just been traded and really wanted a championship. And KG, as an aggressive superstar, was willing to sacrifice for the rest of the team. He was willing to give Rondo the ball, willing to give Ray Allen the shots, Paul Pierce the shots. And he's like, you know what, I'm just going to star in my role as someone who, is no longer an MVP quality player like I am, but I'm not going to take that role.
I mean, he had 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on that team. So it was stacked. But go on.
And so there he gets the idea, because KG is such a sort of like intense superstar. He gets the idea that he can control good superstars. And maybe that was kind of true. I'm sure as a point guard, he's had to talk to other players, and he's probably worked with people like that before. What I think has happened since then is that he's come into contact with a lot of players that don't want to sacrifice, okay? And he actually doesn't really have the skills to manage that. So I think he actually got really lucky with the Celtics. And I think what's happening is with Damian Giannis, I think there's a bit of confusion as to what sacrifice means for both of them. Yeah. For both of them. I think they're both a bit like... I'll get to them in a second, but I can actually see this being a 4D chess level play, and I can see Dave Jaeger sitting silently on the sidelines being like, I don't think Doc's going to have this job forever, and when they're hiring an assistant coach, I would just step in and fix this. That's my NBA conspiracy. Tinfoil hat on or off, mate?
Probably on, actually. Yeah, he's probably playing the long game. I can't see any reason why. And I think, like, Doc, he's also been kind of gifted with really good stars every place he's gone to. And I think he sees it, because I heard him say, like, maybe it was last season, he was like, I just want everyone to kind of play with a bit more flow. Like, I'm not going to draw things up. You guys are adults. We're going to play your game. And I think that he has been banking on, like, your Paul Georges, your James Hardens, Embiids, Tyrese Maxey's to just go out and get a bucket. But he actually needs to coach. And he's not just like a personality, like, manager, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. I think the other thing is, it's not just Dame and Giannis who are confused about what it means to sacrifice. I think Bobby Portis, I think he's the problem, man. I think he used to be like a good locker room presence. I reckon he's a bit of a cancer now. And the reason I say this is because he's got one more year left on his deal, I think. He signed for super cheap, if you remember correctly. It was right after we won the chip. He was, obviously, this is probably prime Bobby. Like, he's hustling. He's getting, like, hype plays. He was shooting, like, 40-something% from three. Like, he was a bucket. I mean, you can't buy a three now. But he wanted to stay in Milwaukee. So he signed for cheap, and, you know, it was, you know, man for the culture. Now I think he's like, I want my bag. I want my money. And I think he just stat pads. He tries to get as many boards as he can by just, like, pushing people out. I've literally seen him, like, pull a board out of, like, Pat Connaughton's, like, hands just to get... Seriously, mate. And I reckon he's like, nah, I'm gonna prove that I'm a double-double average kind of player and get my bag. But I think it's gonna blow up in his face. I think he's gonna get traded, man. And he's not gonna get traded to a good team. He's gonna get traded to the flipping Hornets or the Wizards. Someone that needs, like, a backup big. And he's just going to be in, like, some sort of purgatory, like NBA purgatory. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's it's tough. It's tough, man. I feel like let's actually go to this, Tommy. Break down what you think is happening with Dame and Giannis. So they're not clicking in the way that you would really hope, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, I was talking to Ryan about it, and he's like, "What's going on with them?" So do you have a bit of a diagnosis as to what's happening with Dame and Giannis?
Yeah, I think the issue is this sounds really simple. They're both ball-dominant players. And you can't just run Dame's turn, Giannis's turn. Giannis doesn't want to set actual screens. I don't know if you've noticed. He only sets and slips. He doesn't actually set the screen. And he's always expecting the pass. As for Dame... He's been great. He's a little one-dimensional. He does the pick and roll with Brook, which is good, but he never passes to Brook. It's always just him taking the shot. I think with, like, Dame and Giannis, they don't know who's the actual leader, and they can't both lead. I think Dame's tried to say, like, this is your team, but Giannis has gone, like, no, I need you to, like, take that last shot sort of thing, Dame time. But they're just confused, and... I think they're both a little bit bitter and resentful to the rest of the team as well, because they're both actually playing pretty good individually. Giannis is as good as he's ever been. Dame still feels super athletic and still, like, passes and can hit a deep three. So I think they're both like, look, we're holding up our end of the bargain. What's the rest of the team doing? And again, just this is a very small tinfoil hat, very small redacted. I think Giannis is going out there and he's almost on like I'm proving the point that I'm the best player in the world. I'm going to average 30, 12, and 5 this season. And I'm going to prove I'm the best player on this team and no one else contributes. Because if you look, no one else is scoring. And I think he's just going out there and being like, I'm proving to the front office that I'm the best player and you can't lay this at my feet, that we're 13th in the East or whatever it is. And they can't really blame Dame either because he's playing pretty good as well. So, also, what's Darvin Ham doing?
I don't know.
What's he do? Sorry to end on that. But what do you think is the Dame and Giannis issue?
I mean, I think you're pretty right there. I feel like it's got something to do with... I actually think it's got to do with pick and roll a little bit. I think that Dame every time. I think basically the problem is because they don't pass the ball to each other enough in flow of the game that when they do get the ball, they both are just like, well, you're not getting the ball. So what happens is when they set the pick and roll, the reason why Giannis rolls every time is because he knows if he rolls, he's more likely to end up with the rock, right? It's a bad play for Dame to try and hold that ball because Giannis is already moving. And I think with Dame, he would be frustrated that Giannis isn't setting real screens to give him openings for threes.
Yep.
You know, because he's just like, now he's just left with his defender on him and Giannis is rolling towards the rim. And Giannis is also, I would say Giannis only has to really, I would only want Giannis on the low post in general, probably only about 6 times a game. I don't love him on the low post. High post, he's all right because he sometimes rolls in, but on the low post, it's always messy. And if a guard's defending him, the book is out on just sell the charge and just, he's either going to score on you or you're going to take a charge. So it becomes, and I think both of them frustrate each other because Giannis has those plays where he doesn't score and he ends up with a charge, and Dame sometimes has games where he goes 1 of 7 from 3. I bet that frustrates Giannis because Giannis is like, I'm shooting at 67%, dude. Pass me the rock. I will put it in the hole. You know, so I can see why both of them's play style actually would frustrate the other person.
How do you actually? So I got 2 questions for you. My first question is, how do you actually see this season playing out? Second question is, are you a Bucks fan or are you a Giannis fan? Those are my 2 questions. How do you see the season playing out? And are you a Bucks fan or are you a Giannis fan? Because I, just as a little bit of tidbit for that second part, is this a LeBron at Cleveland forcing his way out situation? Is Giannis going to the Heat? You know, metaphorically.
So I think this season is going to be rough. I feel like it just feels like we're too old, so I'm just expecting another injury to like Brooke or something. And like I just see, and like we've got Chris Middleton on the sidelines at the moment. I feel like it's going to be a rotating bench of just old people sitting down. So I don't think we're going to have a good season. I think that if we're healthy, we could have an all right postseason, but our flow is broken and our role players are hating their roles. Other than AJ Green, I'll say, who, I don't know if you've seen this, he hasn't attempted a 2-pointer this whole season. That's a man who knows his role.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, he's shooting like 60% from 3. So I'm like, hey man, I'm actually not mad at you just jacking up threes. Ajax is also a great defender, great on-ball defender, but and he's like an entertaining spark.
He's what Thanasis thinks he is.
He's what Thanasis thinks he is, absolutely. And he's good for a transition dunk. Okay, so you think it's going to be a rough season. I think you're probably right. Rotating injury list, absolutely. Now, give me what's going to... Are you a Bucks supporter? Are you going to see this through the whole cycle? You know what I mean? Because it's like, this is the cycle of teams. They start off crap. They get like a good player comes through miraculously. They get good. Sometimes the window means they win, which we did. And then they suck, injuries, trades, and then it starts again. Are you seeing this through, or are you a Giannis supporter?
I am definitely going to see this through. But it will become a secondary team. I will have to take on a secondary good team to support as well while they're in their tanking phase. But I'm also going to support Giannis wherever he goes, of course. The dude's done too much for my heart. You know, he's put too much on the line. So I can't, no matter where he goes, even if it's the Celtics, I'll support him. But I will not support the Celtics.
Wow. I mean,
what about
is
you?
True. Yeah, I think I'm going to see this through with the Bucks. I feel like I'm pretty bought in at this stage. Like, I mean, I've been following this team, you know, maybe for 5 or 6 years now. Maybe 6 or 7. And you've been longer than that. So I feel like I'm pretty committed. I don't have a secondary team that I follow. I like to see, you know, I keep tabs on the rest of the league, and I kind of like watching an OKC game or a Timberwolves game. I like the Nuggets. They kind of remind me a lot of the Bucks in a lot of ways. But I don't have like a secondary team. Do you have a secondary team that you're like kind of watching on a semi sort of basis?
The one I'm dipping my toes in is the Spurs. I'm just the Wemby factor's too fun, and you know they got Chris Paul, so I'm like, this is like it's like going to be an entertaining match, and they got all the young players as well. Like they could be a potential future Bucks, you know, in a certain way where all their players are just kind of like 3 hustle, rebound, young, you know.
Yeah, Wemby also dropped 50 today. I don't know if you saw that, which is just insane. I thought he was. he's everything people said he was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of got that LeBron James kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Of he's going to be great, and then he is great.
Yeah. Just last thing on the Bucks, Tommy, from me, was how much of the early lack of success for the Bucks this season would you attribute to the Thanasis factor and him not being on the bench anymore? Is that a percentage at all in the losses?
Yeah, I thought that a lot when like Giannis was hanging his head a lot and was visibly frustrated. I feel like Thanasis would have been a bit of a remedy like to that issue. I think my real answer is probably more than we're all willing to admit. Like Thanasis, people clown him a lot, but I actually think that he's like the locker room guy everyone wants. And it really does suck that he's not there anymore. And I think Giannis kind of hates that. Having said that, am I going to lay any of it at, like, let's be real. Even if he was there, mate, Brook Lopez is not going to be better on the switch. Even if he's there, Gary Trent Jr. is not hitting any of those threes. Even if he's there, Giannis isn't setting screen. He might set an extra screen, but even if he's there, Doc isn't drawing up plays. So I'm kind of like, you know, we're still old. Chris Middleton, like, I mean, we haven't even talked about Cash much. Like, and I love Cash, man. I don't actually want him to be traded. But we're paying that man millions of dollars to be injured for I don't even know how long. I also, like, he had surgery in the off season. He was healthy at the end of that postseason, had surgery, still no timeline for him to... Like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how you can have 3 months off, have surgery, and still, like, did he have full ankle reconstruction? Like, what happened? Like, I don't understand these things, but, like, when's the dude coming back? And again, not that I'm putting all my hopes on him, but he's like a 15-5-5 guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not nothing.
And you know what else he is? He's actually really the point guard of this team. He knows how to use Giannis and Dame, and it's really obvious when he's not on the court. Like, when he's on the court, I expect us to win a lot more games because he just knows how to control the tempo. He understands, like, he's the perfect amount of selfish when he needs to be and a playmaker when he doesn't need to be. You know, like, he's got all of those. He knows how to run a pick and roll with Giannis. Without him, we're really stuck, which is a shame because he's also old and he can't really play defense that much anymore. So he's like weirdly crucial to this team.
I agree. I think he's only got 1 or 2 more years left on his deal as well. I really hope that we keep him in Milwaukee. I know this might be a bit of a sizzler, but I hope that we keep him in Milwaukee but sign him to like a vet minimum. That's what I hope, because I think that let's be honest, we're getting nothing back from K-Mid. Like, if we trade him, we're getting absolutely nothing. But if we keep him, he knows how to use Giannis. He's great locker room presence. I actually think he knows how to use Dame better. So, yeah, I think he's more value to us, even though he's not worse than Bobby. It's not possible on defense. He's not worse than Bobby, because at least he's long. But goodness, he's not far behind him. I tell you what. Yeah, that's tough, man. I don't know. I can see us. Look, technically, we're still on track for a 74-8 season. How possible that is remains to be seen.
I think the Brooklyn Nets would like to have a word with that, Tommy. Sadly.
Look, I think we have a decent chance of being a play-in team and being a play-in team that no one wants to see. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we're a play-in team, I can almost see us having a bit of a revenge post-season, kind of like maybe the Heat. Like, if we're in the play-in and we are up against maybe like the Hawks, the Bulls, or even like the Pacers, I can see all of those teams being like, we really don't want to play the Bucks, just in a one-off, you know, winner takes all, loser goes home kind of game. And then, I guess we say this every year, but when it's a full 7-game series, it's anyone's, right? So, yeah, I think we'll be an annoying playing team. That's what do you think?
I think we'll be the 6th seed. I think that's what's going to happen. I think the start is bad. I think we'll get stuff together. We'll go on like an 18-4 run at some point. and we'll have the best record in the league over the course of like 3 weeks. I think it'll probably be closer towards after the All-Star break. And I think we'll probably scrape into about the 6th seed is my guess. Because the thing is, with the East, everyone's kind of not doing that well. Like, the 4th seed is the Knicks, and they're 5 and 6. You know what I mean? Like, we're actually not that far behind.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I actually think, you know, I had... with our worst fake that I gave you, like, I know it was a joke, but I actually think, like, look, the West is obviously way more stacked than the East. There's a really good chance that we, get the 6th seed. We play, I don't know, maybe like a beat-up Magic. We get to the 2nd round. We play an even more beat-up Knicks because Tibbs has just played everyone into the ground. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves into the conference finals. You know what I mean? Like, almost by virtue of default. And then people go, oh, the season wasn't a scratch. So, there's not a lot... there's not a lot of competitive basketball coming out of the Eastern Conference. I can see it happening. Or do you think we just get bounced in the first round? Like we stumble our way into the first round and then just get punked by the Pacers again, which would be my nightmare, by the way.
I think we'll be fine. I think we have a good chance in the postseason. We just didn't have Giannis. Honestly, Giannis is one of the youngest players on our roster, so at this point, I hope he'll be healthy for it. I think that was the biggest problem. If we had Giannis, I actually think we would have won. Because K-Mid, I don't know if you remember, dropped 41 in one of those games, and if Chris Middleton's dropping 40, we're winning games. So,
absolutely, and we were running plays for Bobby Portis, like we've been saying. And I'll just end this as well, mate. You know, the 76ers are 2-9 at the moment at 14th in the East. So
you must be hating that.
Oh, mate. You know what? Whenever I feel bad about the Bucks and I'm kind of like the NBA sucks, I just look at the 76ers and the hell that they currently occupy, between Embiid just being the worst person in the entire NBA kind of cohort, and Maxey being the most wasted all-star in the entire NBA cohort. Between them and a podcast P, who I think dropped 14 points last night. They're just like, I would hate to be... The 76ers, like... I don't know when their window was. Maybe like that conference finals against Toronto.
They've never made the conference finals. I just want to remind you of that.
Sorry. I just said that just to...
Embiid has never been to the conference finals.
Sorry. Their second round is what I mean. Their second round against Toronto, that was probably their window. And they missed it. That's funny. They never made it the second round. Jeez, that's tough. You hate to see it. You don't. So
I love that you couldn't have smiled more when you said you hate to see it than just then.
Oh, you hate to see it. You really do.
All right, Tommy. Well, that's enough Bucks chat. We've really laid a lot of groundwork there. If you didn't know what was going on with the Milwaukee Bucks, hopefully now you're all caught up. It's time for us to jump into, of course, our final segment. Agent Cody Bank. Somehow that font looks even more Comic Sans than Comic Sans in a weird way. It looks even worse than Comic Sans, but that's what was in the template, so I've used it. Agent Cody Bank is the segment where we give each other 45 seconds to represent an obscure NBA player or coach. And we have to try and get that person the bag. So we're trying to sell their features and benefits. I don't know how your sales techniques have been going, Tommy. How are they?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this one, actually, mate. I'm ready to go. I'm locked in.
Okay, great. And I should mention, we don't know who we're going to be representing. Not unlike Worst Fake, we're going to be given it by the other person, and then we have 45 seconds to sell that person. Do you want to go first? Do you want to give me the person first?
Yeah, I want to give you the person first. I've got two here because I've picked a countryman of ours from Australia. A little bit of a deep cut, but I'm happy for you to just kind of sideline and we'll go to someone else who you definitely will know. So I don't know if you know, but this gentleman has been the league leader in steals actually at the moment, and I actually think genuinely is deserving the bag. Are you familiar with the vacuum cleaner Dyson Daniels?
I am.
Yeah, on the Hawks. He's actually been like locking kids up. So can you please get that man the bag?
All right. Well, Tommy, you've given me a really easy one here. Dyson Daniels. The man will be Dyson up your offense, in my opinion, okay? I think he drops 27 points the other day and 6 steals. Who is this guy? Don't leave him near Bobby Portis's house. I mean, he's already that much of a thief. He's going to steal more of the stuff. Dyson Daniels, first of all, Aussie. So you know what that means. He's got to have a bit of a weird jump shot, and he's going to be giving you hustle.
Big love
honestly.
to Delhi. Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be passing the rock. And honestly, when you've got Trae Young on your team, you need someone like this who can actually defend. Because otherwise, you've got the Bobby Portis of guards, Trae Young, up front there, trying to guard Jalen Brunson and getting stuffed into the basket. So, Dyson Daniels, I'm liking your Dyson. Give it to me.
I love that Bobby Portis is now the archetype of someone who just cannot defend. And you've got the Bobby Portis of guards, which is Trae Young. Yeah, I mean, he's single. I don't know if you know this, but the Hawks are 7th, which, you know, if a little callback to shots fired, first team, who I'm not going to, you know, keep up this kind of performance. He is the single only reason why they are 5 and 7 at the moment. So, yeah, big love to Dyson.
You know what? I would call Bobby Portis the yin-yang to Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Like, they're unplayable on one side of the court, and on the other side of the court, you still go, it was okay.
Yeah, you go on the other side of the court. I have to, because I don't really have enough of a reason to not. And that's really just it. Like, I'll swallow this pill. If you can make a call around the league to replace, then I'll take that too.
Okay, actually, Tommy, let's actually do a quick debrief to see where you are at with these two things. This is an accidental heat check, instant heat check.
Yeah.
What are you more afraid of? Okay, a Rudy Gobert post up, or Bobby Portis guarding a guard? Which one of you is a more scary side as a fan of either of those players?
Man, as soon as you said Bobby Portis guarding a guard, do you know what I immediately thought of? I immediately thought of us playing the Mavericks and Luka calling over for the switch and getting Bobby Portis on an island out the 3-point line and just step back threeing over him to like ice the game. And that just puts a chill in my blood. There's nothing more ugly than the Rudy Gobert hunchback, post up. With, you know, he's got the backpack, sort of the Draymond kind of vibe going on. But Bobby on an island somehow is worse than Brooke on an island. That man, if I was him, I think he's got a better chance of stepping back and just daring them to shoot from like kind of like a deep, almost like a logo 3. That I actually think that's his best. Because if he presses too much, they blow by him and then they have any shot. So you might as well just step back and go, I'll just stand here with my arms up and hope that it distracts you. That's what I'm more afraid of. You're giving me nightmares, Jeremy.
Yeah, I actually think he should go for some unconventional defense and like scream at them or like take his shoe off or like just something that's going to make them feel like uneasy with his presence because the defense isn't working.
Yeah, just start crying because I'm crying. And we're all crying. It's probably your best bet, mate.
All right, Tommy, I'm going to give you to be the agent Cody Bank of another player. This player, we've already mentioned in this, he's also a Buck, and he's also known for his thieving, but not on defense, of the Milwaukee Bucks salary cap. It is, of course, Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, man, this is who I was going to give to you, mate. And I tell you what, here's the thing with Gary Trent. He says what you think he's going to do, and he does more. You think he's going to defend? No. He does more than that. He doesn't play offense as well. He is not only stealing money, he's not stealing the ball. That man goes out there. I think he has more tattoos than shots made this season. And he's also known for having just illnesses you can't account for. So if you're looking for someone who's just going to warm that bench and average about 5 claps and 3 stands a game, then I've got the man for you. Gary Trent Jr., you would have hated to have seen Gary Trent Sr. because this man cannot purchase a bucket. But you know what? He's there for the culture. He's there for the locker room presence. And he's there for the vibes.
And hopefully we'll be Gary Trent Sr. later, mate.
Oh dear, such high hopes. I don't know how that man's getting a bag.
Look, all right, well, Tommy, great work on our return episode to the 24-25 season. We've actually almost cranked to an hour. We're going to hit an hour. So wow. I think that's enough for people. We've been absent for 3 months. But again, please go check us out on YouTube. That's going to be the next phase of Hoopatheticals. And check out all of those amazing title sequences if you didn't watch them.
Can't wait. I'm going to subscribe right now, mate. And I think we should start to bring the content a little bit more consistently now. So I'm pumped for that.
More consistently than a Gary Trent floater, hopefully.
Oh, that's not saying a lot, but we're going to take it for now.
Well, as always, Tommy, Finn.
Finn.